We haven't failed. We just found a way that didn't work.
Well, that's one way to put it.
Yes, that's science.
Is that a real expression?
I think so. I think there's somebody who either, I don't know if it was Einstein or Tesla, but somebody said, I haven't failed. I've just found a bunch of ways that don't work.
It's almost like one of those Yogi Berra koan type things, like we talked about it with the, which one was it? It was in It's a Wonderful Life.
It ain't over till it's over. Deja vu all over again.
No, it was like an everyman, or not everyman. It was a
Good Sam.
Good Sam. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out, it was your mom who said that she thought she knew what it was, right? And it turned out somebody else said, oh, yeah, I've heard that too. And I was like,
yeah, so we both independently, I think. My mom said something to me, and then you texted me about it. Somebody else said that, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably what it was. So, hey, we learned something.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, but, yeah, so beginning of summer.
For the record, this is all stuff that is going to make me incomprehensible in the next few minutes. So,
we're getting a good ASMR of the swallowing of it. I think I don't know if we want to branch out, we could.
Just think about how many people have made money just by figuring out how to make these little sounds and everything.
Seriously, it's. Do you get the response? Because not everybody gets the actual tingly response.
Yeah, I do, but it's it's a marvel to figure out exactly how many businesses started simply because of the internet.
Yeah. Really, I mean, I'm sure there was some niche person that dedicated their life to that study and had their own set of like ASMR mixtapes probably for years and years, and then the internet comes along, and then people are like, "Oh, well, let's monetize." A
little phenomenon. Let's do it.
Yeah, really, it can be good. I mean, there is some innovation that comes out of it. Some of the Kickstarters and stuff, people are actually able to get stuff out to an audience and not have to rely on a bank to give them a loan to make the thing. But yeah, I don't know that we could by any stretch of the imagination say it's all good.
I mean, it is the internet after all. It did give everybody a voice, and that's what we were celebrating years ago. But then we eventually found out, oh no, it gives everyone a voice.
Yeah, and authority that usually you'd have to have studied a subject or something, but now it's easy to get the voice and then also somehow convey authority just because you have an audience, not because you actually know anything about the topic.
All you really have to do is play the cynic over there saying, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions.
That's classic. Yeah, that's like no offense. You know, it's like, Kevin, you're really ugly. No offense.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, seriously. It doesn't work. It sounds like it would work. You could maybe fool somebody once, but it doesn't. You can't keep doing it.
Yeah, well, those are the people that think that everybody is gullible. What's the saying? You can fool some of the people all the time, and you can fool all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all the time.
Yeah, and if you get enough people that find you and click on, then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
No, just find some wealthy guy who's ready to pump some money your way and just help you reach bigger audiences.
Can you tilt your camera down at all slightly?
Yeah.
Get a little, much better. Too much headroom. A cinematographer has to go in and...
Yeah.
It was always a thing. It's like somebody asks you to take a picture of them. They're like handing you their phone, and then usually people just like snap one or two. I like to go all in, and it's like, okay, we're gonna frame this up. I'm gonna get down, and then, and then just move slightly. You gotta always, anytime you got a camera, you gotta use it to the full extent that it can be used.
The problem is everybody nowadays is just like, okay, I'll just hold it up portrait style and just click several times, and that's it.
Did we talk about it? It's funny because there are now cameras that are designed for shooting stuff in portrait mode. because they just cave in. It used to always be, always do landscape. You got no vertical video, and then they just gave up. And now, like, all ads and stuff that are made for phones, they shoot with like the camera sideways so that they can get the full aspect ratio of the 9:16 instead of 16:9.
I mean, it's the evolution of media. We never thought it would have gone in this direction, but I think that there were several people that thought that we weren't going to go in the direction of digital music through an iPod or something like that. But it all paves the path.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Okay, so today's movie that we are working on is the beloved 1998 Coen Brothers movie starring Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Julianne Moore, Steve Buscemi, and ironically, Joel Coen says that people are more fascinated by this movie than he and Ethan ever will be.
Yeah, the Coen Brothers are big. Originally, this was my pick. I wanted to do the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, but we changed it because of the obscurity. But I still think you should check out the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think you totally should. And for those of you who are not familiar with Buster Scruggs, this is an anthology Western. It's a collection of short films about the Old West. It doesn't have to be a full-length feature, but there are several charming sequences that are portrayed throughout it. I believe there are about 6, right?
That sounds right. Yeah, Kevin sums it up really well. It's like an ode to a genre as a whole rather than just, hey, here's a Western. Also some fun music in it. Kevin, you're sometimes humming that song, Surly Joe.
Yes, sung by the frequent collaborator with the Coen brothers, Tim Blake Nelson. So some of you may remember him as, what's his name, Delmar in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, yes. Yeah, at some point we might do the movie, but we both said, okay, let's choose one that's a little less obscure to start out.
Well, there was also the option of No Country for Old Men, but unfortunately that's a lot darker and violent, and it's a great movie in and of itself. I'd be happy to do an episode about that down the road. I'm sure you would too, but I think it's good to start with something lighthearted and fun. So Big Lebowski it is. So, after being mistaken for a millionaire whose trophy wife owes money all over town, slacker Jeffrey the Dude Lebowski is caught up in a mystery he intends to solve.
All right, so this movie, I chose a card that we've seen before. The Fool.
Ah, yes. So, Koda, would you be willing to refresh us a little bit about The Fool?
Absolutely. So the Fool is somebody that is about to go on to a journey, and they have a lot of stuff to expect that they're going to have to deal with, and kind of going with the flow, which I think sums up the dude pretty well.
Yeah, the Coens have said that their inspiration for this movie came from Raymond Chandler detective fiction stories. I don't know about you, but I had to read Raymond Chandler stories for my summer reading into my junior year at high school. I read some of them, but obviously didn't read the rest. And even my English teacher said that, he wouldn't even keep this book on his shelf either.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't read any of his stuff either, but I like that it's the second episode we're talking about our English teachers.
And we still haven't done our vocabulary homework.
Well, Kevin, you may not be abreast in the matter of vocabulary, but I am.
You're such a pompous muttonhead, you know that? Well, with any beloved movie, I think we need to cover its origins. So, the dude, Jeffrey the Dude Lebowski, is mostly inspired by many film friends of the Coens. First and forefront, Jeff Dowd, who calls himself the Dude, who drank a lot of White Russians and is a member of the Seattle Seven, an anti-Vietnam War activist group.
Oh, so basically the entire character.
Well, there's another guy who also adds depth to the character. His name is Peter Exline. Details are that he lived in a pretty shitty apartment, but claimed that his rug really tied the room together. He had a Vietnam vet friend who turned into a private investigator who helped track down his stolen car that was taken by high school kids with an 8th grader's homework found in the back over there. And, well, he participated in a softball league, and The Coens opted to change it to bowling because it's, quote, a very social sport where you can sit around and drink and smoke while engaging in inane conversation.
Yeah, I don't think softball really would have worked. I would have been interested to see Walter charge the mound, though, because he didn't like one of the calls.
It sounds about right. I mean, if he's going to pull a gun out in a bowling alley, he's going to use his bat to attack somebody on a field.
Absolutely.
Well, in the early draft of the script, so the dude was supposed to be an heir to a Rubik's Cube fortune. I mean, that would explain him being unemployed casually. So while the script was written in the early 90s, Bridges and Goodman were busy working on other projects. So the Coens opted to make 2 films in the meantime, The Hudsucker Proxy and Fargo.
If only we could be that productive. Imagine your side project ends up being regarded as one of the greatest films of all time.
Man, and all I'm doing is just staring at a blank document, hoping that some creative spark will come at some point, like some sort of fission chain reaction.
It would be wonderful.
And it's one of those films that's quotable the entire way through. I mean, my personal favorite quote is when the nihilists start crying, "It's not fair!"
Yeah, it's a ton of irony in the movie. And for me, it's not a single line. It's about the entire confrontation of Larry Sellers. And we know it's his fucking homework. Where's the fucking money, you little brat? The kid does not utter a sound, changes expression the entire scene. He walks up to the window and watches Walter go to town on the car. What a performance.
I mean, the best part of that was that in the scene leading up to that, Walter was just like, "Oh, the kid'll crack."
And I love that the dude is on the phone in the next scene with Walter, and he's like, "No, Walter, it didn't look like Larry was about to crack." And after a brief pause, he says, "Well, that's your perception."
So, we also need to get into how we all saw this movie. As for me, it was when I saw it, it was my senior year of high school, and I wanted to check off as many iconic movies as I could. And that year was also when No Country for Old Men won Best Picture, and so I'd become obsessed with that movie and wanted to see as many Coen brother movies as possible. So
yeah, bundle them together. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the first time I saw it was sometime early in college. I don't remember exactly where or when, because we watched it a number of times, and it's, people have it on, and you go, okay, now we're watching this. So, Kevin, what would your elevator pitch of this movie be?
I would simply say that it's this charming and eccentric comedy with mystery and amazing characters. Just everything about this movie you are just going to enjoy thoroughly.
Yeah, and mine would be, it's a movie that didn't need to be made, but I'm glad it was. Also, a ton of pop culture references to it, so I think people should see it.
Agreed. So we should go over the basic details now. So it was released on January 18th, 1998 at a Sundance Film Festival, and then was released to a wider audience on March 6, 1998 with the U.S. and Canada, with a budget of $15 million and a box office total of $47.4 million.
What a great return on investment.
Koda, do you know anything else about accounting? Because all you say is return on investment, so...
I dabble.
You dabble, or could you actually work as a professional if you wanted?
Dabble.
Yeah, well, once again, listeners, do not go to Koda for your accounting needs.
Good disclaimer.
All right. So now I think it's fair for us to talk about the creators of this movie, the Coen brothers. This was written and directed by Joel and Ethan Coen.
How many people do you think actually know their first names?
I'm pretty sure anybody who takes them seriously knows their names.
I didn't, but I take them seriously.
So if you met them...
I wouldn't recognize them. Remember, bad with faces.
So you'd be really screwed in the moment. All you would do is shake their hands and say, "Hello, Coen brothers."
Yeah, probably would. But Kevin, we all know you've had your share of embarrassment in front of celebrities.
That's true, John Lithgow, Patience of a Saint.
All right, so let's hear a little more about these brothers.
All right, so their resume includes movies such as Blood Simple, Barton Fink, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Fargo, No Country for Old Men, Burn After Reading, A Serious Man, Inside Llewyn Davis, and they've won 4 Academy Awards. They won Best Original Screenplay for Fargo, and they won for No Country for Old Men, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. And in fact, when they received their Adapted Screenplay Award for No Country, Joel Cohen remarked that at that point in 2008, they had only adapted 2 authors, being Homer and Cormac McCarthy.
Oh, wow.
And generally, when they made their movies, the directing credit would be given to Joel and the producing credit would be given to Ethan. And they did this frequently until 2004 when they did The Lady Killers. But ever since then, it's now been credited as producers and directors.
Oh, it's pretty fascinating.
And I think here's another really interesting detail. So Jeff Bridges was on the phone with John Goodman while they were in pre-production phases, and he was talking with Goodman because Goodman's a frequent collaborator with the Coens, and he said, when are we going to get our rewrites? And Goodman assured him, they don't do rewrites. We're going to be fine.
That's nice.
One of the best things about this movie was they wanted to use the Rolling Stones songs Dead Flowers, and they needed to pay the $150,000 licensing fee. But the manager of the Rolling Stones waived it because he loved the line, I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
I love those kinds of stories. And to drive that joke about hating the Eagles a little further, they also used the Gypsy Kings cover of the song Hotel California when Jesus is doing his whole montage of the bowling, and it's a great cover, but it just drives that hate of the Eagles even further, which I love.
It is a good cover. I've listened to it several times myself, and they've also edited this movie. In fact, they edit all of their movies, but they edit them under the alias of Roderick Jaynes.
Why did they use an alias?
Turns out it's because they disliked seeing their names so frequently in the credits.
Yeah, a little humility.
It's what you need in the industry.
More people need it.
And Joel and Ethan Coen, they are incredibly bright people. Joel went to NYU for film, and Ethan went to Princeton to study philosophy. In fact, Ethan once tried to explain a missed deadline by saying that he had lost his arm in a hunting accident.
Huh. How did he plan to pull that one off? Not exactly an excuse you can just make up.
Look, it's an Ivy League institution with hundreds of students in a class. You don't have the direct student-to-professor relationship like with other schools. Something for kids to, seriously consider when you're looking at going to college. Do you really want the big institution with the big name, or do you want the direct relationship with your professor?
Good wisdom, Kevin.
Finally, somebody appreciates me. Can you keep praising me throughout the rest of the episode?
Nope. That's something you should address with a therapist.
All right, well, we should at least talk about the cast. What a cast.
Seriously. And also, didn't you meet one of the stars of the film?
Yes, that is true. I met Julianne Moore. So when I was working at the Elliott Hotel, I was, I was rounding the lobby around the corner, and then there were the elevators there. And as I'm rounding the corner, a woman goes into the elevator. She goes in and presses the button and turns around, and she makes eye contact with me and smiles politely like, hi. And I smile back to say hi, but then 2 seconds later, I was able to process, that's Julianne Moore, and my eyebrows just went up and she just burst into laughter.
That's great. I mean, it's probably not the first time that it's happened with her, and probably preferable on the scale of awkward encounters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are worse encounters for celebrities. So, Jeff Bridges plays the dude, and you would not believe who was the top choice. Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson?
I mean, remember, this is before his fall from grace in the 2000s.
Yeah, but was he ever considered chill? I mean, not even like from a retcon standpoint. I don't think of him as this real laid back hippie.
I mean, oh well, thank God it didn't turn out that way. But Bridges, when he eventually got the role, he was worried about it from the perspective of raising his daughters. He was worried that it would be a bad influence on them. But they said, "Dad, we understand that you are acting right now."
Yeah, it's important to know that the actor, when they do a role, is acting usually.
Yeah, and when he read the script the first time he met the Coens after reading it, he was like, "Did you guys hang out with me when I was in high school?" I mean, I can't do the Jeff Bridges accent, but the impression, but
It was close.
yeah, and Bridges actually provided his own wardrobe and would wear it to and from the set.
That's great. Really getting into the character. And you had mentioned to me something else that he would do before each scene to get into character.
Ah, yes. So remember, this is the dude we're talking about. And so he would approach the Coens when they're filming a scene, and he was like, hey, would the dude have rolled a J before this scene? And if they said yes, he would just start rubbing his eyes like crazy just to get the bloodshot effect.
Ow. Yeah, it worked.
Then we have John Goodman as Walter Sobchak, and Goodman has gone on to say that this is his favorite movie on his resume.
Wow.
Julianne Moore, as we discussed earlier, as Maud Lebowski. She is based on the artists Yoko Ono and Carolee Schneemann.
Come on, Kevin. That's not very nice to say about Julianne Moore, comparing her to Yoko.
Well, we extend our apologies to Miss Moore if she is watching.
Yeah, I think we're on our good side, though, so we're okay.
That was an encounter from like 8 years ago.
Well, maybe. I don't know. But
And then we also have Steve Buscemi as Donnie. And since Buscemi was a frequent collaborator with the Coens, they usually require him to be more talkative in his roles. And they opted to make him quieter in this one, hence the recurring "shut the fuck up, Donnie" line.
yeah, seems like a simple solution.
Then we have David Huddleston, who played Jeffrey Lebowski, the millionaire, the title character, Big Lebowski. And the original top choice was Marlon Brando for this role.
What is with this alternate cast?
Well, who was also considered for the role was Robert Duvall, Anthony Hopkins, Gene Hackman, and Jack Nicholson. But according to Alex Belth, who was an assistant to the Coens during the production, she wrote a book called The Dudes Abide, her memoir about it. She said they were also considering conservative intellectual icon William F. Buckley and Jerry Falwell.
Wow. I mean, that character is inherently comedic, just in this similar way to like in It's a Wonderful Life, Potter. But yeah, the list just didn't end, though. That's incredible.
Yeah, and then we also have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who plays Mr. Lebowski's assistant, Brant, and then Tara Reid plays Bunny, his young trophy wife, and John Turturro as Jesus Quintana.
Wow, pretty small part for him, but what a character.
Oh, and then we also have Sam Elliott as the stranger, who is also the narrator.
I just recently started getting into some of the later seasons of Family Guy, so when I saw Sam Elliott, who voices Mayor Wild West, the mayor that replaced Adam West since he died, I was like, Kevin, it's West, it's Mayor West.
You know, the really neat thing about Sam Elliott in this movie was that the Coens claimed that his mustache helped him throughout the entire editing. It just made the lip syncing easier.
That's a great tip. And I've done a similar thing where it was a feather boa because the singer didn't know his lyrics. I'm looking at you, Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And then we also have the characters who are known as the nihilists in the movie. So you have Peter Stormare as Uli, Torsten Voges as Franz, and you're really going to love this one. Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers plays Kiefer.
It's crazy. And I also learned recently about another one of Flea's roles. He actually voiced Donny in The Wild Thornberrys.
Yes, he played the feral child that they adopted who basically speaks in gibberish. We got to talk about what we each loved about this movie. I mean, I can start by saying I love the eccentricity and the mystery theme. I mean, I love the narrative pace. I mean, that the stranger is his role is a good indicator for your progress in the narration, because he narrates in the beginning of the movie, you see him at the bar in the middle of the movie, and then you see him again at the end.
Yeah, that's pretty cool how they work him in, and he's actually seen. It's not just a total voice of God narration.
Yeah, and the other thing to love about this movie is that it has a great soundtrack, and it's mainly Creedence Clearwater Revival, and it was picked out by musician T-Bone Burnett, who helped cater his taste and apparently his hatred for the Eagles as well.
I love a lot about this film. I think seeing a young John Goodman play this unhinged character is pretty funny, especially since he's often cast as a wise, fatherly figure in many of the roles that I first knew him from. Also, the cinematography is incredible. You wouldn't often think of a comedy movie having such great lighting and camera work, but when we see who DP'd the film, we get an explanation. Sir Roger Deakins, who we previously covered on our episode of The Shawshank Redemption. Link in the title card or description. And one thing that really shows his work in this movie is some of these dream sequences. Also the title sequence, where you really are getting a sense of the bowling alley and, you know, what this place is like and where everything plays out.
What I particularly loved was learning how they pulled off the shot from inside the bowling ball in one of the dream sequences. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, having to mount the camera in this crazy way. Because again, this is 35 millimeter film cameras. We're not throwing a GoPro on somebody. That was not even conceived of as a item at that time. Another interesting thing to note. This film was shot on spherical lenses, which makes a lot of sense because the film really didn't need to be an ultra widescreen, and also probably reading way too much into things, but they shot it on spherical lenses, which equals spherical lens flares. Bowling balls are spherical. Seems fitting.
I think you're reading a little too much into it. You're not a college professor
Yet, but that's just what I do.
Koda, do not order those business cards until the university offers you the position.
But I like to come prepared, and business cards are cheap nowadays.
Whatever. But we need to talk about John Goodman's character, Walter Sobchak. I mean, what else can you say? He's one of my all-time favorite movie characters, and he's based on a screenwriter friend of the Coens, John Milius, who bears a similar appearance and personality. So the most distinguished thing about Walter is that he is obsessed with the fact that he is a Vietnam vet and he converted to Judaism.
Yeah, and I love his line where he gets mad at Smokey for stepping over the line and wants him to mark at 0. And he goes, Smokey, this isn't Nam, this is bowling. There are rules here. Just the poetry of that, because the implication is that the Vietnam War was lawless, which many people would agree it was.
I mean, perhaps Walter returned with a greater appreciation for the rules. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, but unfortunately, he appears to be kind of broken from Vietnam and doesn't understand how to properly be a law-abiding citizen.
I mean, he's just... Especially when he's in the coffee shop and he's invoking the Supreme Court to justify making a scene.
The dude is passive, and Walter often pushes him forward when he refuses to move, either, somewhat physically or story-wise.
I mean, in that same scene, you could sort of get a sense of the two characters, because the dude just, throws his money on the counter and just walks off after, Walter's just like, I'm staying. I'm finishing my coffee.
And the dude points out that Walter seems to be stuck in the past with Vietnam and being Jewish, despite the divorce that he converted for, the marriage of that. And, he contextualizes it with, or justifies, I should say, 3,000 years of a beautiful tradition ranging from Moses to Sandy
Koufax.
Koufax. Thank you for helping me with that pronunciation.
You're not a baseball fan.
You're a goddamn right. I'm living in the fucking past.
I mean,
he contradicts himself all the time.
Yeah, like the dude calls him, and Walter rebukes him for doing so because it's during Shabbos, and he's like, "I'm not supposed to be talking on the phone." And the dude says, "It's an emergency," and Walter then goes, "I understand, dude. That's why I picked up the phone."
Very inconsistent. So we need to ask the important question because it's hotly debated online.
I mean, you gotta love arguing on the internet. I mean, that's where all the important decisions and discourses play out in society.
So it all comes down to the big question. Is Donny real? Did Donny die in Vietnam and Walter has PTSD? Walter is generally the only one that interacts with him.
Yes, and apparently people have pointed out that the few times the dude engages Donnie could simply be him trying to play along to help his traumatized friend.
Yeah, you sent me a decent video from the YouTube channel, The Movie Mind, which breaks it all down. Very well done.
I mean, Jeff Bridges was asked about it, and he certainly thinks it's plausible. What about you, Koda?
I could take it or leave it. Actually, I'll leave it. The scene with the mortician kind of relies on him being real. It's a fun topic for a paper, but I think that's as far as I'll go.
You know, I agree. I mean, I think we read too much into these fan theories sometimes. So, you know, while the dude may have chimed in on it, Jeff Bridges himself, and offered his opinion, I'm just going to wait until the creators, the Coen brothers, step in and say something.
And they like to leave it open-ended a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And this movie has left quite an impact.
Yeah, the biggest indicator is that it was submitted to the U.S. Library of Congress in 2014. I mean, we discussed the library and its submission process first in the Singin' in the Rain episode.
Yeah, and you also sent me a Stella Artois commercial with Jeff Bridges and Sarah Jessica Parker, in which their iconic characters, the dude and Carrie Bradshaw, ordering the beer instead of their drinks, White Russian and Cosmo.
And I think the biggest indicator that your movie has been a hit is when people begin hosting festivals devoted to your movie. I mean, there was Lebowski Fest that was held annually in Louisville, Kentucky from 2002 until 2018.
And we've learned quite an interesting story about some of these festivals.
Yes, so apparently the Coens were in San Francisco, and they saw a movie theater with a booth advertised playing the movie, and they inquired about it at the theater with the teenage girl who was working there, and she said, "Oh, you know, we have nightly screenings of The Big Lebowski, and people come in costumes, and they have all these themes, and you guys should come by sometime. It's really, really fun." And she was like totally unaware that these guys created the movie.
As we discussed earlier, I probably would have done the same.
I mean, no shame in admitting that.
Well, that's going to do it for us today on Moviehouse Mystics. Kevin, next episode will be your pick. What are we going to discuss?
Well, we've all seen that there is the long-awaited sequel to Happy Gilmore that's going to be out soon, and I think it's appropriate for us to cover the original. So, Happy Gilmore.
All right, so Happy Gilmore. Looking forward to it. And since you picked the next movie, you also get to pick this week's fun fact.
All right, so the last episode we did, we made a joke about the papal conclave, and I think this is relevant, so this detail needs to be shared. So are you familiar with the artwork by Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel where they held the conclave? That's where they picked the Pope?
Yeah, a little familiar.
Are you familiar with the name Biagio da Cesena?
Can't say that I am.
All right, so this guy was a priest in the Vatican in the 16th century, and he served as the papal master of ceremonies. And this guy despised what Michelangelo was painting in the chapel, and he was saying all this nudity, I mean, it's better fitting for a bathhouse or a brothel. And so if you look at a little section over there on one of the walls, it is the Last Judgment, you get a little snapshot into hell, and then you get a close-up of this guy over there who's got donkey ears, and around his legs there's a snake wrapping around him that's biting his genitalia. That man is none other than Michelangelo's critic, Biagio da Cesena.
Well, at least courteous enough to cover up the old Johnson.
I see what you did there, Zil Johnson. And there's actually more to this.
There's more?
Yes. So in a fit of fury, he went to the Pope, Paul III, and he demanded that, he was like saying to him, you get Michelangelo to take me out of hell right now. And Paul trolled him. He pointed out the dogma. He was like, look, once you're in hell, that's it. Nobody can get you out, not even me.
I love the idea that petty revenge has been around so long, and then also I love a pope with a sense of humor.
And also it's a reminder that there have always been these morally uptight prudes out there.
Timeless. Well, that's going to do it for us today on Moviehouse Mystics. I'm Koda Yule.
And I'm Kevin Ganey. Tune in next time for Happy Gilmore.